Hello. This is the Representative Party Podcast, and I'm just John. The subject today that I want to talk about for just a few minutes, because I've talked about it before, is the death penalty and what's fair. What's going to be fair about the death penalty? Well, you know what? It's a terrible thing to take a life. But if you committed a crime and the death penalty is warranted, then more than ever do we need a fast and speedy trial that's promised to us in the Constitution. We don't need people living 20, 25 years on death row, and obviously they're a changed person by then. But that does nothing to deter the crime, many of them heinous, that have happened before. Our current president just, I guess there were around 40 people on the federal death row list. I don't know how long they've been there, and he changed 37 of them to life in prison without parole. Now, some people say that's okay, but it's really not. You know, we're keeping people alive. They're just, all they do is cost money. And as cold as that sounds, you know, this is where's the justice for the families that lost a loved one? Where's that? And how is it that someone can be murdered and then the family of the murder victim has to wait, 20 years, and chances are many of those family members who were very, very close to the murder victim have already passed, so they get no closure with this. And even if they don't believe in the death penalty, and I wish there was a better way, but, we need to take hold of this system so it actually does what it's supposed to do. And it's supposed to be a deterrent, and it's not. Crime just keeps going up. Hey, I can go to prison. I get 3 square meals a day. I get better health care than most people. And if I'm a good guy, I can possibly get out, and regardless of the heinous crime that I've done. Now, some religious people would say, no, you can't take a life, because we got to give him time. We got to give him time for him to come right with God. Well, I believe God knows your heart, and He knows your heart even when your heart is being wrong. And I bring this up a lot. He continued to use David after David's sin terribly. He actually committed murder, but he continued to use him because he knew. So he knew that eventually, things would work out. So if a guy that he gets another 20 years, and he's found Jesus and everything's all good and well for him, what's the family find? I mean, some families, they're not Christians. They're not getting their due, and so what I would hope that the representative party would represent those victims, not the criminals. They would represent them in a way that now the crime for the death penalty has got to be undeniable. It's got to be no way. There's got to be DNA. There's got to be all kinds of evidence that points to it. Then you get one appeal, and that appeal comes quickly. We need to get these judges off their butts and get them doing their job. And the appeal comes quickly. And then if the appeal is not overturned, or if the ruling is not overturned, then that person needs to be put to death within a couple of months, or quicker than that. It needs to happen so the people remember why this person is being put to death. We can't, if you remember, I spoke on this just a while back, if any of you can remember that I did. And I spoke of a lady who was killed 20 years ago, and the guy was finally put to death. Well, what good did that do? I mean, the guy was a changed man. I mean, he was completely not the same man. None of us are going to be the same person in 20 years. But we need, when someone commits a crime, then we need to deal with that crime, and we need to move on. So, you know, with the death penalty in mind, we can continue on and never give the families the closure that they need, and it does no good, or we can carry out this death penalty in a timely fashion to where it actually, someone says, last year I knew this guy, and now he's dead because he did this. Now that's an eye-opener for a young man or a young woman. So anyway, I just wanted to pass that on. As I told you, I'm going to try to put short ones out about every day. I have lots of subjects I want to cover. I really would like some of you out there to say you would volunteer to help me share this and help me get this into the other states. I know I have a lot of friends out there that may just be bypassing it when they see it on Facebook. But you can search the Representative Party podcast on YouTube, and hopefully you can find me. If you can't, leave me a note someplace so I can get it fixed. But with that, I see I'm coming up on 7 minutes. That's about all I want to do. I don't want to carry on, but think about it, you know. And maybe that's not the right answer, but maybe somewhere in there's a compromise where we can make this death penalty what it's used for, and it's used as a deterrent. It does no good to kill a good man, but it does good to kill a man to put a man to death if he's created a crime, and it keeps some other young man out of it. God knows the guy that's being put to death. He knows his heart. He knows if it's going to change. So we don't have to worry about that. So with that, as always, this is another day. I believe it's Saturday, and go out, make somebody smile, put a smile on somebody's face, make them feel good, make them feel good about the job they're doing, and for God's sake, let's just love one another. So this is Just John, and I'll see you next time.